Yo, yo, what's on, guys? So today is Sunday, August 24th. Um, so today, this video is just going to go over my watch list and thoughts for the upcoming trading week. And yeah, let's just jump right into the charts here. So first and foremost, as always, my most traded indice, my favorite thing to trade. We got the NQ chart here. I just spent a couple hours yesterday, and I went over and I withdrew, or not withdrew. I redrew all of my levels, my daily levels, my hourly levels, all of that, and my NQ does not want to load. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. All right, and so there's a few things I want to go over. There's a few possibilities that I see here on the NQ chart. This is going to be a new one for you guys. This is going to be it's called the head and shoulders pattern. That's what I'm potentially seeing here. You know, we got left shoulder, head. If we see a pop back into this like 23,870 and then a failure, that could fill out the head and shoulders. Head and shoulders is a bearish continuation pattern. I could see that happening. Or, on the contrary, I could also see just this being a new daily higher low for a move back into all-time highs. So that, two things that I'm watching there. 4 hour, it's the same thing. I see this potential head and shoulders coming into play, or same thing with the 4 hour. Get rid of this and you just zoom all the way out. Could just be a higher high potential with just another higher low. So that's pretty much what I'm watching on the NQ chart in terms of just a higher time frame structure. So this 23,850 level for reject to fill out the head and shoulders, or if it reclaims, then we most likely see all-time highs again. But also in terms of just chart structure, we have this little symmetrical triangle, which is just kind of an either-or pattern. If you see here, most of the time they're going to show breakouts, but yeah, see, a symmetrical triangle, which is exactly what we're forming on NQ coming up. It's a neutral bias, so I mean, there's two possibilities here. We go here and then we break out of this triangle, or we fizzle out and go down. So the market's kind of in a little bit of an either-or territory right now. Just with how everything's been, I want us to go lower. I want us to break this 23,000 and then eventually this 22,800, just for because I like trading downside. But what I think is going to happen is honestly probably a break of this into all-time highs. That seems most probable in my opinion. But let's get into the actual trades that I'm watching for this week. So this last week was my top watch for shorts. If you guys remember, this Friday's session low, I couldn't make a bigger emphasis on if we broke this. That was the break of the uptrend, and we were going, and then it was the break of the uptrend and a confirmation of a downtrend. And if we broke this level, we would see much lower. And just from this level breaking, we saw 700 points lower in 2 trading days, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, so that's gonna be my top watch. Is if we get up here, we go up, and then we start to get weak up here, look for a reject. That is my first top watch for the week. And then if we end up getting weak, like really weak, if we end up getting really weak and we break below, if we end up getting extremely weak and we end up going down here, we break this triangle, we go, we bounce, and then we fail this 2340 level, and then we go down. That would be my top watch for a short into this previous structure at 22,800. That's pretty much my top watches on the NQ chart. If we reclaim this 23,730, all short bias is off the table into 23,800 and then eventually back into all-time highs. So that's all that I have on NQ chart. Just go over it one more time. We're watching here for a momentum to die out at 23,730 for a reject, or if we flip very, 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 very weak and get below here, look for a reject, eventually into here, and then here is where we can flip long and look for a demand bounce. So that is that with that. But also on the contrary, if we go up, we reject, and then we reclaim this 23,730, we're gonna see all-time highs. There's no doubt about that. So next, let's go over to the ES chart, which is the future for the S&P 500. On this chart, I think there's a couple levels that are extremely important here. I think this 6450 is going to be our pivot for this coming week. It's this previous demand. It's this previous demand over here, as well as what I was saying last week is if you drop a Fibonacci from this next swing, that's not a Fibonacci. If you drop a Fibonacci from that impulse candle, this 6450 lines up with the golden pocket level, which is the 0.6618 retracement. I accidentally put 50% there, but yeah, it's going to be the this 4-hour impulse candle. It's going to be the 618 retracement, which eventually we can look for longs, and then if we break that level, that is where longs are off the table, and I would look for shorts. I did just want to point out, the S&P 500 is much, much, much stronger than the NQ chart. Let me just pull up a side by side here and show the difference. Look how much further away from all-time highs we are on the NQ chart. On the NQ chart, we're 500 or 400 points away, almost 2%. And on the ES chart, we're only 12 points. We're less than 0.5%. We're 0.2% away from all-time highs on the ES chart. So the ES chart, I said I was watching for shorts on the NQ chart. The ES chart, I don't really see anything to short here. This 64.75 level will be your first bounce level. It did already test 2 times. But even if we break, the risk reward is still long because say we come down here, we bounce it one more time, and then we fail, retest, the go. The 6450 is all that you have room down into. So I mean, risk reward is just long on here on the ES chart in my opinion. ES, if we can get up here, reclaim 6500, break above all-time highs, retest, and get into that price discovery move. That's my top watch on ES is longs, which is, it's weird, there's a big divergence in indices here. NQ, I still think it's a relatively bearish chart, where on the daily chart we could be doing one of two things, and that is turning this into another higher low for a move back into all-time highs, or this daily chart, if we form like an inside bar here and then reject, that could be just setting up for a daily lower high. But this chart, this just looks primed to be another higher low and avert back into all-time highs. So that's what I'm watching on the ES chart is pretty simply just a break of these all-time highs here and a rip. I think longs are off the table if we break the 64.50 level. I think that is where bias will flip short. But even then, I wouldn't even be watching ES because NQ is so much more NQ is so much more relatively weak that if the market were to flip weak, I wouldn't even be looking to short ES. I'd be looking to short NQ. The other two main indices, RTY, which is the indice for the YWM. I just redrew all these levels yesterday, and now they're not updating. That sucks. But this is just, I mean, this is as simple as it gets. I mean, look at this: support, turn resistance, turn resistance. I'll be looking for this to flip back into support. So we come down, we bounce, we break for longs there. So, yeah, when I look through these, I would say the charts are more long bias at the moment. So, whoa, all-time highs. So yeah, I mean, if we come back here, we test these lows and then get a move. I'd be looking for a move back into all-time highs, break all-time highs. There's no telling where we'll go. Probably end up seeing 2,500, which is that next psychological level. But I will say on the RTY, I don't think. I think all-time highs. Yeah, all-time highs. Yeah, I mean, this is huge. If we can end up pulling back to this 23,330, and then breaking all-time highs, yeah, 2,500 is bare minimum the next level that we see on the RTY chart. So next is the YM, which is the Dow Jones, which, like I said, this is everyone's retirement right here. Dow Jones also very, very, very bullish. It just broke out of this huge daily structure. Resistance, 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 resistance. Huge breakout on nice volume. Weekly chart here. It's insanely strong. And this is another thing I'm saying. I'm long on every chart aside from the NQ chart. NQ chart, I'm not going to say it's like fully bearish. But look at the weekly. The weekly closed red on the NQ chart by 300 points. RTY, or sorry, YM, closed up 1.5% at 700 points. I mean, huge divergence, which is why I was fairly short biased on NQ, and then I'm long biased on literally every other chart. But YM, top watches are just going to be a pullback, into this 45,400 here. This 25,400, we can pull back, get longs up there. That would be a great long watch. Other long watch would be a break, so we reject, and then we reclaim, retest this level, this 46,000 level. That will be my long watch on the Dow Jones. Is just either a retest of this 45,400 here, this previous resistance, previous resistance, previous resistance, previous resistance, support, or a breakout of 46,000 for longs. So that is pretty much my watch for the futures side. To be honest, I'm bullish on YM, I'm bullish on ES, I'm bullish on RTY, which makes me a little bit nervous for NQ, considering NQ is the chart that I trade the most, and I have a little bit of a bearish bias on it. But NQ, if it could reclaim that 23,730 level, then shorts are off the table, and the market across the board is going to rip back into all-time highs. Or if the market ends up flipping weak, if the ES flips weak, if the YM flips weak, if the RTY flips weak, then I can only imagine how weak NQ is going to be. But yeah, that's my watch for this week. That's pretty much all I got. And we will be back tomorrow for the recap on whatever setups come into play. And yeah, that's it. See you guys.